So the first thing that I decided to quit, I would say around this time last year, I decided to stop watching horror movies altogether, and I switched my content to rom-coms, to straight up comedies, maybe a little bit of action here and there. I do watch mysteries still, but it's usually just with Hallmark. They do a lot of tasteful mysteries, I would say. And I have noticed throughout the entire year of not listening to negative music that had a lot of swears in it or just negative lyrics, and listening to music that is empowering and peaceful and happy vibes. I even have like a playlist that I made. I actually made that playlist this past summer. Yeah, it's called Positive Vibes. So like the lyrics are encouraging, and I have just been changing a lot with what I'm consuming, because I have realized that what you consume can eventually consume you. So that's why I just don't have a love for horror movies anymore or horror shows. Now, I'm not putting that stuff down, because I loved the genre for the longest time. It's same thing when it came to music with swears and bad lyrics. I loved all that stuff for the longest time, and that was my past self. So if you listen to that type of music or if you watch horror stuff, I'm not putting you down, but it just was not working for me. I wanted to change that. And I think the first thing that I really had to change and sit down with myself was the type of content that I was watching. No more horror movies, no more negative music, none of that. I find myself lately listening to music that doesn't have any lyrics, just like relaxing sounds, or lo-fi, like no lyrics at all, just nice beats. Definitely have changed a lot, and I've noticed when it comes to me waking up in the morning and when it comes to my overall attitude, I'm more happier, I'm less anxious and less stressed out when it comes to going to the store or cleaning the house, because before I would listen to that type of stuff while doing these errands, and while I was done with the errands I would feel either anxious, scared, tired, stressed out, and that was all because of what I was consuming in my ears. I know that sounds so weird and some people are not going to understand it, and that's okay, but for myself and my future self, I should say, I know that I'm going to benefit more and more each year from just blocking out the stuff that I used to watch and focus on more happiness for once. Another thing that I did, well, I'm actually still working on this from time to time, but I always catch myself in the act if I start this negative spiral, and that is putting myself down or apologizing for my looks. I edit all these videos myself, and I noticed like I was apologizing for the littlest things. I would apologize for like the pimple on my forehead, or how frizzy my hair is, how puffy my face was, or like just like the littlest things that are natural. Same thing goes for like family events. I had a couple family events in the summertime, and I went to these family events dressed casual, usually just with like a zip-up sweater and some leggings. And I remember just like apologizing to everybody, like, I'm sorry for how I look, I'm sorry for how I look, I'm going through some things. I am done apologizing for how I look. I am done putting myself down in front of others and also in front of you guys. I feel like that adds more fuel to the fire when it comes to people that don't like you. They'll just bring up what you just said about yourself. So this is something that I am still catching myself here and there. The minute I start talking bad about myself, I stop myself and like sit in silence for a little bit, kind of like punishment, and I reverse it and say something nice about myself. This is gonna take some time, years and years of me not feeling beautiful, and I just want to again switch this narrative, and this is another thing that was causing a negative mindset for myself when it comes to my looks and my overall appearance, especially with being online. You know, a lot of people on here have like lip injections, hair extensions, a full face of makeup, and new clothes all the time, and I'm the total opposite, or feel like the total opposite throughout these years. because of the comments and just how I talk about myself. But now I'm realizing how unique I am and how unique this channel is, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And the same goes for the other side. Like, you might not be my cup of tea, and that's fine. So I am learning that as the older I get, the more I am appreciating my looks. I look like my mom, and I know one day, I don't want to cry, but I know one day she's not going to be here, and it's going to be nice to like look in the mirror and be like, she's still technically with me because I am a split image of her. So I'm very, very happy that I never got any surgeries done or anything like that, because we're all unique, and I feel like we should try our best to embrace our natural features as much as we can, because whether you look like your parents or your grandparents or your aunt or your uncle, you know, genetics is a beautiful thing. And I am learning that the older I get. I'm learning to embrace my natural waves, my natural hair color, even with the grays. I think the grays are absolutely beautiful. I'm appreciating how I look. I'm appreciating my body for what it's been throughout all these years, and it's still going strong. So yeah, I am learning to not put myself down anymore and stop apologizing, especially on camera, for how I look. I'm not talking about my weight anymore. Like, I've put my foot down the other day and I'm like, I am done apologizing for my weight. I'm done apologizing for how my hair is, how I don't wear makeup. I am just done feeling that way. It's amazing how something like that can like take so much stress off your back, and I just feel so much happier. I know not everyone is gonna get it, but as long as I get it and I care about myself, that's all I really care about. I don't care what others think anymore. I have lived almost my entire life caring about what others think of how I look, how I dress, how I present myself. For the first time in my life, I'm appreciating for who I am and appreciating my natural looks, whether people like it or not. Another thing that changed my negative mindset is that change is always good. There's never like a bad thing when it comes to change, because without change there's no growth. So I am realizing that change is good, and for the longest time I have been terrified to get a job at like a big company or say the wrong things at an interview, and I would just be like silent because I think what it came down to was that I was afraid of change. I'm embracing change, and again, that's another like relief for myself, because I always was that type of person that liked the same thing every day, the same meal, the same work schedule, the same car. Like, I was always that person that when something different happened, I would break down in tears and wonder like, why does my life suck? In reality, my life didn't suck. It's just a little bit of sprinkle of change every now and then is good for the soul. I'm embracing change and learning not to freak out if something doesn't go a particular way. Now, this is something that I am still working on. I have a long way to go with this one, especially when it came to like talking to you guys. And I would say most of my videos, I was being very, very negative when it came to money. I have been a little bit too honest on the internet and didn't realize that it could backfire. I talked about my income. I showed my income. I talked about my money struggles. I shared a lot of my, not just money struggles, but a lot of my life struggles. And I should have just kept my mouth shut. Learn that this is just a process that I'm going through, and I need to stop and take a break for myself, not for the views, not for anybody else, but for myself. Sit down, take a break, and realize that this too shall pass. Everyone has money problems. It's not just me. So I was feeling very, very negative and down and jealous for the longest time when it came to my income and my financial situation. I felt like I made so many financial mistakes, but I really didn't. I was just in this, once when you get into this negative rut, it starts to spiral and becomes like this big negative snowball effect. One day I got sick of it and I just sat down with myself, kind of meditated a little bit and realized like sometimes you're in the position that you're in right now for a reason. So maybe there's something that I need to learn out of this. And what I realized is that the first thing that I needed to learn was to stop telling everybody my financial business, because that was also leading to a ton of negativity, unnecessary negativity that I didn't need. I stopped talking about my bills. I stopped talking about my income, my money situation. I'm really, really private now. If you guys haven't noticed, I have deleted over 400 and I think it was like 87 videos. A lot of videos that I deleted over the past 7 years, but it was worth it for my mental health. And it was worth it for just kind of like erasing me being that negative. Because when I look back at some of those videos, I'm like, oh my goodness, I was just too negative and maybe a little bit too real and honest for the internet world. I know a lot of people took it the wrong way. A lot of people unsubscribed. A lot of people made huge Reddit posts about me on how negative and horrible I am to watch. And I'm not saying that, you know, there's no such thing as bad days. Of course there is. There's bad and good. You have to level out the playing field. What I have been learning is to think about, why am I feeling this way? Why am I so negative today? Why am I thinking about money constantly? Like, just going through the emotions myself. I feel like it creates a really nice relationship within yourself. Also, seeing a therapist helps too, especially if you want to keep things private and not blurb out everything to your friends and family. That was another thing. I talked to my family too much about my private life, and I need to cut that, because just like the comment section, I do not need the extra judgment. I get enough judgment from myself. Well, I was getting enough judgment from myself. So this is something that I really, really needed to stop, and something that I still catch myself thinking about when I wake up, like, all right, I need this much money, this. And then I just like, wait, I'm going back into that negative spiral. I need to chill and take it one step at a time. Money comes and goes. It is what it is. And I'm learning that the older I get. So things are not meant to stay the same forever. Again, like we talked about before, change is good for the soul. And the last thing is something for the channel. And this is something that was causing a lot of negativity within myself, and that was being afraid of being repetitive. I get comments all the time with saying like, you've already done this video, you've already talked about this product, you talk about this product all the time, you've already done this video. Again, like being repetitive. So I soaked it all in like a sponge. It was just a lot of negative energy. And now I'm learning to not care. Post what will be helpful for you guys. Post what I think that is right for the channel. And the one thing that I'm done doing is not being afraid to be repetitive. So for the longest time, I was terrified to repeat content. I was terrified to make the same video that I made 7 years ago, because I felt like people were going to judge me. As a content creator, I've learned that it's bound to happen. You're bound to repeat yourself with content, because it's so hard. Like with minimalism and saving money content, it's such a tight, narrow niche that it's really hard to think of new things, especially with other minimalist channels out there. We're all talking about the same thing, and I'm looking at it at a different way now, and looking at like, even if I do make the same content back to back, I'm looking at it not as a bad thing anymore. I'm looking at it as a good thing. It's kind of like a healthy reminder that you don't need these things. Like, you don't need these items to make you happy. This is how you can save money. Like, it's just a little reminder, because I have also learned that people are least likely to go back to your old videos, especially if you have a lot of videos you recorded. I am looking forward in the future to re-recording and adding a little bit of 30-year-old Kara touch to my old videos that I used to make. And I'm talking about like the videos that I used to record on my iPhone 6. Be prepared to see content you've seen before, especially when it comes to like the products that I mentioned. Like, you already mentioned that product in like 3 videos. That's okay, because I wouldn't be me if I didn't mention the same product over and over again. I don't purchase things just to purchase things like other content creators. I purchase things to last. I purchase things that are going to be durable, that are going to save me money, you're damn right, I'm going to keep talking about it, because if it's doing its job 2 to 3 years from now, I'm gonna bring it up again because it's still doing its job. So I know that I am not everyone's favorite content creator when it comes to being repetitive, but I'm not here to be everybody's favorite. I'm not here to try to get on the trending page on YouTube or be the #1 YouTuber. I'm just not here for that. I'm here to help you guys as much as I can. I truly, truly love what I do. I love making helpful videos. I'm very passionate when it comes to living a minimalist lifestyle, a simple, basic lifestyle. I'm very passionate about it. If I have to repeat myself a couple times here and there, so be it. So on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Let me know down below, what are you doing to get out of a negative mindset?